I would definitely say the first track that really got me sunk into the darkness was Bushwick Bill and Chuckwick and Mind of a Lunatic from the Ghetto Boys. You know, that there was very dark at that time. You know, and then along came Gangster Nip and Brother Lynch Hung and so on and so on. But Bushwick Bill, for me, is a major influence in the horrorcore style and darkness that comes out of bOb e.NiTe. And later on, you know, insane poetry, you know, but most definitely, you know, everybody that's in the horrorcore rap game would be lying if they said ICP was not an influence. From my recollection, I remember picking up a riddle box from a local record store here in Anderson, Indiana. And at that time, nobody knew Insane Clown Posse around here in Indiana. Maybe a few people, but right then, in 1995, you know, riddle box just stood out on the record shelf. So I picked it up, and I'm like, this is different. And it's kind of like what I want to do. And then came out Malenko, which was, to me, one of their best albums, The Great Malenko. So when you mold all that into one pot, you get bOb e.NiTe. And everybody's like, well, my voice, see, if you go back through the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, you hear people that are trying to be scary with the growly voice and you know, very dark voice. And I said, I want to do something different, you know. This is just ain't, you know, this ain't me. I got something inside me that I gotta express, and the only way to do that is come up with my own original idea, and that was to go up with the voice instead of down. So that's where it comes from. I get panicky. See, is this a panic voice inside of somebody that's going through mental breakdown and depression? It just sums it all up into the voice. You know, some people, it takes a while for them to catch on, but when they do, they latch on and they show much respect and mad love to bOb e.NiTe, and that's much appreciated from over the years. The album Code Dead was on the heels of the release of 6 Side White Crosses. You know, I put 2 solo tracks on White Crosses, Can You Kill What I Kill, and All I Know Is Death, just to give the feel of what Bob can do on this solo side. So you know, White Crosses did very well. You know, it was in competition with Q Strange, Creation to Execution album, neck and neck on RedRunMedia.com sales. He was #1, 6 I was #2. But you know, we wasn't fighting over position. It was just a great thing that was going down at the time, you know. And Bedlam had their thing going on, so it was a very good time for horrorcore back in 2000 and 2001. So so when Code Dead came out, it changed a lot of things, and it also introduced another up-and-coming MC off the Third Shift Entertainment camp, Incision, where Main Street Graveyard, the beat wasn't even the same beat that's on the record. It was totally different, but they recorded it to the original beat and came back a week later and heard what it is today, and it just blew everybody away. It's like, this is it, Main Street Graveyard. It is personally one of my favorite tracks on the Code Dead album. You know, you can't argue with that. Main Street Graveyard, it was ahead of its time. It just raw, and just wish, you know, we would have completed the video for it, where you could probably find my clip, my verse of the Main Street Graveyard video on YouTube somewhere. But yeah, Main Street Graveyard was you know, ahead of its time, and one of my personal favorites on the album. So and this was in 2002, where horrorcore was trying to get a face, but everybody was lost at the time and new to the scene. They really didn't know what to expect. And when I didn't even know what to expect, you know, bOb, e.NiTe, and 6ix really wasn't supposed to be this big. You know, it was planned just to do something different and have fun with it and run with it. And look what happened. You know, overnight success, classic. I mean, to this day, I have people hitting me up saying 6ix White Crosses, man, that's a classic, and you can't repeat that. You know, I try to repeat that on Code Dead, you know, but you get that sound, but you don't get that, you know, that flavor you get from White Crosses. But Code Dead, you know, it's in this league of its own. So them two albums right there set the, you know, the foundation of Third Shift Entertainment back in 01 and 02. And, you know, the rest is history. You know, the follow-up album, the second album of the trilogy, Dead Again, it had, you know, Dead Again was the first track recorded. It had Me Too Real, and then flipping into bOb, e.NiTe during the track was also a cool idea. People love that. And that set the foundation for the album. It was the song Dead Again. I shot the video for it, you know, got it up on YouTube, circulated, and got the hype going. But, you know, I was going through a lot of personal problems, and Dead Again just wasn't, you know, pushed right. It wasn't released right. You know, the backing to it, just, you know, hey, here's just another album, enjoy it. You know, if you recall earlier on in I think 05, you know, I just released the whole album on SoundClick, you know, and said here it is, free, I'm just getting it out of the way. But as 06 rolled around, you know, I was had a couple new ideas. Me and Matty Deuce did the track Any Ground Is a Grave. You know, Cap One got on there with Swoop. So I just had a new feel for it, so I just threw some new tracks on there and released bOb, e.NiTe, Dead Again in October 06. And to this day, you know, people say, hey, I love Dead Again. You know, Dead Again is my shit. But to me, it don't stand the same against Code Dead. Code Dead will always be my favorite because, you know, it's the first of the series. It started out my career, and we just can't never touch part one. But Dead Again has its moments, you know, and it has its tracks. So I wouldn't take nothing back on what I did on Dead Again, but the only thing I would do better is promote it better and get it out there to people. So yeah, Dead Again, 2006. That was a very interesting time.